And welcome to another tutorial on 2D game design in Unity. In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to arrange the different sprites and objects in our scene and how to layer them. So at the moment, I haven't actually exited Unity, so I've saved my project. I've been working in here for a little while, but I haven't actually closed Unity at all and reopened it. So what I'm going to do, at the moment, everything looks fine. So all of the objects are all in the right position. The sky is in the background, and all of these different sprites, like the ball and the planks, are at the front, in front of the sky background. So what I'll do is I'll just close Unity. So I'll go and quit, and I'll reopen Unity. And I'll load up my project again, 2D game project. And something has gone wrong. There's a little bug here. What's happened is I've got my sky here. I can see that. I can see a few different planks here, but where did the ball go? And where did the weight go? And the ice brick? And yeah, and where's the ground gone? So the ground I can see, it's down here, but it's actually behind the sky. And all of my objects are still here in the hierarchy. I can still see we've got the grass here, we've got the ball, the bomb, but they're all hidden. So a little problem here. And if I play it, we'll also see the same thing. So we can't see everything that's in the game. And this has got to do with ordering different layers in Unity. It's got to do with how the sprites are actually rendered on the screen and what's rendered first. So you might not notice this problem until you save and exit Unity and come back to your project, and the next time you open your project, you notice that things have disappeared, assets have disappeared from the screen, you're not sure what to do. So there are two ways of fixing this. I'll show you the quick and easy way of fixing it, it's not the best way of doing it, and then I'll show you the second way of doing it, which is the much better method. So what we could do is we could go to the sky background first. So we'll go to sky tile sprite, and on the transform properties here over in the inspector panel, we have position, and we've been working with the X and Y axes. So earlier on in the series, we moved the background to the right position, and so we're working with X and Y. The Z property here is for depth. So we can use the Z value here. We could change it to a positive number, like 1, and that will put it behind everything. Or we could set it to a negative number, like -1, and that will bring it in front of everything else. Okay? So initially it's set to 0. All of the Z values are set to 0 for all the different assets here in our game. So basically, if we work with the Z position here, we can change the depth of objects. So we could set maybe the Z value for sky to 2, and then we could set the weight to 1, and then we could set all of these to 0, and we could set something like the grass to -1. Okay, so we could do something like that. We could use different values, and basically using negative values will make something closer to, and using positive numbers or higher numbers will make something go further away. So like if we look at the sky, it has a value of 2 for Z, and if we look at something like the plank, oh sorry, the weight, it has a value of 1. So Z, or a 2 being a higher number than 1, is going to make something appear further away. All right. Whereas something that has a lower number is going to appear closer, be closer. Okay, so that's one way of arranging the assets on the screen, but it's not the best way. So let's just go and change all of those back to 0. What have we got that we've changed? Oops. So we can change the grass then sprite back to 0, and the sky, I think was the only other one, set that back to 0 as well. Okay, and so now the sky has gone back back there, but some of these objects are hidden behind the sky. So that's one way of arranging the assets on our screen by changing their depth here using the Z value and position. But it's not the best way. What we can actually do is use something called sorting layers. So for every single sprite that's in our scene, if you have a look on the inspector, you'll see that it'll have a sprite render. So every sprite in the scene has what's called a sprite renderer, and that's what actually draws the sprite onto the screen and onto your scene. So it actually says where it says where something is going to be drawn on the screen and what's going to be drawn on first. So at the moment, things like the grass are being drawn on first, and then the background, the sky background is being drawn on, and then these wooden planks are being drawn on top of that, which is not what we want. Okay, so we can use sorting layers to fix that up. And if you have a look at the sprite renderer, you can see sorting layer, and then it's set to default. And we can go and add a sorting layer here, or alternatively, we can go up to edit, project settings, and then tags and layers. Okay, and if we go to sorting layers, reveal that, we can see we've got our default layer there, which is what every sprite is currently on. But we can go and add some more sorting layers. So what we'll do is we'll click on add to list, and we'll call the second one background. We'll add another one. We'll call it midground. We'll add one more, which is called foreground. And you can go and add more layers if you wanted to, but at the moment, I'm just going to have a background for the sky. I'm going to have a midground for the grass, and then a foreground for all of the other assets in the scene. So I've created my sorting layers here. So now what I can do is go to the assets and say what sorting layer I want them to use. So I'll start with the sky tile spray. Click on that, and I'll go to sprite renderer sorting layer, and I'm going to change that from default to background. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the other objects, like we'll start with the grass, and I'm going to change this to midground. Okay, so now we can see the grass is in the background, sorry, the sky is in the background, and the grass now is in front of the sky. So I'll go and get the other grass sprite, we'll change that to midground as well. And then we'll go and get the planks, and we'll change those sorting layers to foreground. Okay, so now I see the first plank here, but we can actually go and select multiple objects. So I'm going to hold down Command and click on each one that I want to add to the foreground. So I'll grab the ball as well, now the plank, bomb, ice, and weight. And we'll go over to sprite renderer, sorting layer, and we'll make all of those set to foreground. Okay, so that's actually fixed everything up. If we go and play that now, everything is as it should be. So the sky is in the background, the grass is in the midground in front of the sky, and all of the other objects like the planks, the ice, the weight, the bomb, and the ball are in the foreground. So everything is layered nicely. All right, so any asset in your scene can be added to a sorting layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how those sorting layers actually work. So I'll go to Edit, Project Settings, and Tags and Layers again. And go to Sorting Layers. And at the moment, I've set it up so the background is at the top here, midground's below, and then the foreground is below that. Now, anything that's at the top of this list will be drawn or rendered on the screen first. And then anything at the bottom of the list will be rendered or drawn on the screen last. So basically, if we want the background to be drawn on the screen first, then that should be at the top of the list. And then if we want things like the grass, which is on the midground, to be drawn on top of the sky in front of it, then that should come next. And then anything that we want to appear right at the front, drawn on top of everything else, should be at the bottom of the list. And that's how it's set up at the moment. I've got background at the top, midground, and then foreground. But if I want to change things around, so I put the background and just drag it down to here, we can see that now the grass has disappeared. Okay? Because the grass was on the midground and it's at the top, which means it's going to be drawn first, and it will be rendered first and be behind everything else. And if we went and dragged the background right down to the bottom, it would also be in front of the objects on the foreground. Okay, so you can drag these around and move them to wherever you want, but whatever you want to be drawn on the screen first and to be behind everything else, it should be at the top of the list, and then basically from there, and as you work down to the bottom of the list, anything at the bottom of the list will be at the very front and it will be drawn or rendered last. Okay, so that's basically how to sort and arrange layers, different sprites in your scene. One other thing I'll mention is that you can also set sorting layers on your prefabs. So at the moment, if we go to the plank prefab, its sorting layer is set to default. So if I went and dragged that on, I can see the green outline of it there. It's actually in the scene, but it's behind the sky. And it would only be fixed up when I changed its sorting layer to foreground, like that. But rather than having to change that every single time I drag a prefab on, I can just change the properties for the prefab. So I can actually, when I create a prefab, I can actually set its sorting layer there. And so now whenever I drag a prefab on, it will use that sorting layer. So that's one little tip there that will hopefully help you when you're working with prefabs and sorting layers. That's all for this tutorial. Thanks for watching.